hablo desde la prisión. Wilson Manyoma. Borbona.
Oh, your phone's on vibrate. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yo. Masters of None, episode 76.
77, man. We're 77.
Episode 77. Excuse me.
Episode 77. We are here. We are live. And earlier this morning, Vladimir Putin invaded the Ukraine.
Isn't that insane? It's like the only thing that the internet is talking about right now. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, it does deserve to be, in terms of news, up at the top. I'm just glad that, to be honest, I'm just glad to not be hearing so much about the other thing that's been consuming media for the last couple years.
Oh, you don't see anything about that thing being spoken about today?
Nope, we're not even discussing that thing. Not at all.
Nope.
But yeah, before we get into such heavy things as a war.
Yeah, you just jumped right into it.
Yeah, it's just, I can't. It still is like crazy to me. And I'm like, man, this is, I don't know. But, how you been, brother?
I'm chilling, man.
You good, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I went to the doctors for like the first time in like maybe like 13, 14 years or something like that.
13, 14 years?
Probably. Let's see. No, longer than that. About 17 years.
How do you feel?
Feel pretty good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, just went for a physical. But I did find out that there's a couple things I got to take care of. But nothing too alarming. Nothing that I think is too alarming, at least.
No.
But nothing that I can't change. But it was like, I don't think it was kind of, in hindsight, it was kind of uneventful, right? Because I figure like, if you go there and you haven't been there in so long, like it's possible that they like, you find out that like you don't just have really big balls. Right, that's not like that extra piece is like a shell that's been surrounding your testicles of like a cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
So
but it's not that serious.
no, but I went there and they were like, no, yeah. He was kind of like, yeah, don't worry, you're young. That's what he told me. I was like, I've been.
But what ended up happening? You didn't tell us like what. Like,
what did they find out was wrong with me?
It sounds like you're referring to that joke as something that happened.
No, nothing happened. That's it. I said it was uneventful. I said after all this time going to
that
the
ball
doctor,
joke was a joke.
Yeah.
Right? Because the way he structured that story was that's what they found.
No, he didn't even leave. The doctor didn't even look at my balls. I thought for sure, like I went in there ready for him to grab me up and make me cough, but that didn't happen either.
You shaved and everything for no reason.
Yeah, dude, I went in there like a fucking swimmer.
For no reason.
I went in there like show ready.
Let me tell you what. I think I took about 4 seconds off my mile. Off my meter or whatever.
I went in there photo ready, and the dude didn't even ask me to fucking take my pants off. He just did some blood work.
How dare he do that?
Yeah, he looked at me. He was like, so, you got any questions? And I was like, not really. I asked him a couple questions. And he was like, all right, man, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do some blood work. I'm going to call you. We're going to talk about it. And he goes, and if everything's all right, I'll see you next year. And I was kind of like, all right, sounds good.
All right, cool. Good, man.
He held up his end of the bargain. He told me, I'll see you next year.
All right, good. So your blood work looked good.
It was all right. I got high cholesterol.
I do too. It's not good. That's why men get so much cardiac disease and shit.
Yeah, I gotta take care of it. But you know what? I'm like blatantly aware that like currently in my life right now, I'm eating at like an alarming rate. It's almost like I'm competing to get high cholesterol.
Yeah, you're like, I got it faster.
Yeah, the way I'm eating, it's like I'm like eating with like a purpose to like really put my body to the test. Like, how much fat can we get in these in these veins? You know, in this blood before he starts clogging up. Like, I really put myself to the test. But no, I'm the same
way. I gotta eat better, bro.
I'm aware of it, so it's like I'm not surprised by it. When he's like, "Yeah, you got high cholesterol. Like, are you eating good?" And I was like, "No, I didn't lie to him. I was like, no, I eat like shit." I was like, "So?" He's like, "Yeah, you got to eat better." He's like, "Diet and exercise." And I was like, "All right."
What do you say, Mediterranean diet?
He didn't specifically recommend a diet.
Isn't that so funny? Doctors always say it's diet and exercise. Yeah, but what should I eat?
They don't even know that shit. I don't think that's not like they don't learn that shit.
They say Mediterranean diet a lot of times.
What is that?
Mediterranean diet is exactly that, like a diet of like what they would eat around the Mediterranean. So it's like a lot of
fish and
yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fish, really lean proteins, like maybe chicken and stuff. But it's a lot of seafood, a lot of salads, a lot of like beans, like chickpeas, like stuff like that, like hummus, that kind of like just that really good whole foods, some nuts. Stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what's whole? I went to my grandmother's house today and I had some rice and beans with a fucking chuleta.
Yeah, that's right, man.
That shit felt wholesome as hell.
Yeah, I bet it did.
It tasted so wholesome.
Did you fast before your blood work?
Yeah, that's the worst part.
12 hours?
That's interesting because I might have had something to... No, it definitely wasn't 12 hours. I had 8 within 12 hours. When I say I fasted, I meant like I woke up and didn't eat. But I definitely had something that night.
Then that's not accurate blood work. Nobody told you to fast the night before?
Nah, they didn't tell me anything.
Yeah, you need to fast.
Not only did not tell me anything, when I got there, they were like, hey, did you fill out like the big pamphlet? And I was like, no. And they were like, nobody told you to fill out the big pamphlet? And I was like, no. And they handed me like a stack like this of like paper.
Oh, yeah. You had that new patient paperwork.
Yeah, bro. It's terrible,
that
bro.
That shit is annoying.
And then they try to give me a hard time about not wanting to join like their Gestapo group where they share my information. You know that like it's not really a big deal. It's a database that holds your medical records. And if companies, if like physicians or practices align with this company, then they have access to your medical records so that like, let's say you're upstate New York and you break your leg, they could find out about the time you took too much Viagra fucking 3 years ago. Like they could access your medical record.
Okay.
So there's a slip on there that gives them the permission to share your medical records with that company. And I go to the desk and I was like, hey, is this like mandatory? And they're like, well, what's your question? I was like, is this mandatory? Like, do I have to do this?
I just asked you my question.
And then she starts explaining it to me, and I'm like, I know what this is. I'm like, no. I was like, I'm familiar with it. I was like, I just want to know if it's mandatory to be seen here. Because this is the first time I'm seeing this dude.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, no, it's not mandatory. She was, but I just don't see why you wouldn't do it. And she gave me this example about like, you know, if you're skiing upstate and, you know, you hurt yourself, like they have access to your medical records so they could see like, you know, if you have any history or something like that. And I'm like, well, if I fucking break my leg upstate, there's nothing in there that's going to fucking like let them know anything. I broke my leg. And then I ended up not going forward with it. And they told me it's not mandatory, but it's funny how like, she was just like, I don't see like, she was like, she seemed upset that I didn't want to like join it. And it's like, why? It's like, just because like everybody signs it.
Yeah.
Same thing with another thing. They have another one where it's like, I allow, and it says like, it has like a, where you write a name. I allow like this company to get, to release my medical records to, and you write the place that you're requesting the medical records from.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not requesting anything, so I don't know what I should do with this paper. And they're like, oh, what you do is you sign it at the bottom and then you leave it blank. And then if we need to reach out to like an office, then we fill that piece in.
What kind of doctor did you go to?
And I was like, what?
That shit sounds weird, son.
The other part isn't weird.
Let me refer you to a guy.
No, this guy's a good guy. He was referred to me, but many people go to this guy. It's not him. It's whatever the fucking process that they got going on. You know, a physician belongs to like you know, sometimes it belongs to large networks, and it's that network that has like this paperwork. They're just a partner physician.
But that's an individual practice for that office. There's no company policy that says, hey, get somebody's signature on this blank form.
Yeah, I was like,
you know
that one threw me for a loop. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this one either. And they were like, oh, you read everything. Good. And I was like, yeah, I read everything.
Yeah, and they were like, they all went in a room and they were like, hey guys, this guy definitely knows at least one attorney. Let's be smart with this guy.
Yeah, what up, Claudio? He's like, I got my identity stolen. Nah, bro, I just don't fuck around. Like, I'm not gonna. I just read everything I fucking sign. Like, I'm not gonna let you guys do whatever the fuck you want. My television, I can't use ambient mode because I don't sign the terms and conditions. Because one of the terms and conditions is it allows it to use my information entered into my television, like maybe what I watch or whatever, to like create like advertising profiles. Like it says it on. I'm like, I don't. No. I don't want to do that.
No. And that's what they do. See, they'll hide a feature on the television, behind that information wall that you have to provide them, like that piece of data that they want to collect from you.
It's like, oh, we also want to monitor if the TV crashes so we could, make patches and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you don't.
Nah, I'm good on that.
No, you don't.
I never share any of my feedback. When they're like, oh, share some feedback with Apple. It will allow Apple to make your experience better. And I'm like, no. Any device I get, doesn't matter.
Dude, even from back in the day, like, I'm not nobody's fucking beta tester.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to you need R&D on, like, the performance, and you need, like, they call it UIT, user testing, user something testing. And it's like when users do, like, the testing, like the people who use this application.
So it's not really testing, more so it's like them trying to get a real life collection of data of people that are using it.
Yeah.
Like, it's really the most accurate kind of study they can do, and it's free to them.
Exactly.
They don't have to invest any money to gather this data.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, actually, you paid us to test our product.
And people will do it. And then not all the time you're paying for it. Like, a lot of times when you're playing a beta, it's usually free. Or it's like pre-order the game and get access to the beta. But, like, that's what you're doing. Like, you're testing this for them. And listen, if you're waiting for a game and you're really excited about it and you want to get in on it early, I have done it with certain games. It's like, okay, it's a win-win. I get access to the game early. You guys get a little bit of fucking, feedback on how I'm playing, on how the game's running.
All right, that makes sense.
What up, Fab?
Oh, Fab. Fab was good.
Mm-hmm.
I might pop that champagne because Fab came on
You
here.
want to pop the shit? We should pop the champagne.
Should we pop the champagne? Give me a glass.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
Give you a glass?
Give me a glass, yo.
Okay.
We didn't plan this at all. No.
Yeah. YouTube at its finest.
Trying to look around to see if I can find a stray cup.
There's no stray cups down here. Promise you. I had one stray cup. It was the espresso that you left down here the last time you were here.
Damn, my bad. All right.
And I put it upstairs in the... Listen, man, if you want to drink that champagne, man, you crack that puppy open. We'll fucking...
Swig from the bottle?
We'll swig that shit.
Damn,
we had two
son.
bottles. We could just open them both. My only condition is that we have to finish them both. I think it'd be rude.
I'll finish mine. I'm worried about you.
I probably wouldn't be able to finish one of those.
No,
I'd probably be...
I'm worried about having to drink two of them. That's what I'm worried about.
Champagne isn't that... is champagne like... Is does it have a high alcohol content?
It depends on the kind of champagne, but they typically do have a decent amount. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not like champagne isn't just like show alcohol. That shit will get you fucked up.
It depends on the kind, but champagne will definitely get you fucked up if you drink a few glasses of it. It'll get you drunk.
I don't expect you to know this, but I'm going to ask you as if you do. Is champagne just carbonized wine, or is it like a completely different process?
It's different. Wine that's carbonated is called sparkling wine, and that's a little different than a champagne.
Carbonated. I said carbonized. Excuse me.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what you meant, I think. But yeah, man. So what I'm gonna touch base on, what I think we have to kind of mention is this whole Russia-Ukraine thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, see, I don't know the logistics. I don't want to discuss the politics about it. Like, what, oh my God, this war, it's terrible. People are getting invaded. I saw like heartbreaking video of people putting their kids on buses and hugging their wives and stuff for them to evacuate the cities. It was terrible. But my question more so is like, what does war look like in 2022?
One of the things that's crazy, and we spoke about it earlier, is like the access to technology and the fact that like, last time we were in war, we were kind of in a country and like even in places that, well, you know what? I don't even want to talk about that. There's so many videos coming out now, essentially is what I'm getting at. Like there wasn't as many videos as we know when we went to Iraq, like surfacing. Now, you look at this Russia-Ukraine thing, there's videos everywhere. Videos of journalists walking through the streets and cruise missiles coming over their head.
Yeah.
Videos from the Ukraine releasing them blowing up Russian tanks. There's already POWs. They've already got like a platoon of Russian soldiers that like that surrendered to a Ukrainian combat team, I guess. Yeah. And they're housing them somewhere.
That's I don't know, man. It's a crazy situation. Like I'm so glad, like knock on wood, that hasn't come like to that kind of conflict hasn't come to our soil. I mean, we have been attacked a few, like with different things, like 9/11 was a travesty. But I mean, like in terms of real war, like ships rolling up on your, at your harbors, like planes flying over and bombing, like people, like
Europe
planes,
in both world wars.
Yeah, like planes dropping off, paratroopers and shit like that.
Dude, there's videos of like it's like a woman and you can hear like a kid in the background, like a family, and you see a fighter jet just coming over the town, like maybe 1,000 feet in the air. Like you could see this thing, like if it went slow enough, you could read the fucking tags on this thing, and you just see missiles coming off of it, and like it hits the building next to where these people are. Like it's now like seeing some of these videos that are they're the media is putting out, and or you see them on Reddit. It's crazy. It's like it's not a first hand view, but it's that shit is as close as you're gonna get. It's crazy,
and it's almost real time. Like because you always see there's camera footage of other conflict and other wars, like stuff from other countries that you have access to, but I think it's the real time thing of it that makes it crazy. Like, there's already videos published on the internet of things that occurred this morning.
And it's not hard to find. It's not like only you got to know somebody that's like, has a cousin who's a Marine who puts them onto a special forum. Like this shit is everywhere.
Yeah. And it's dominating the news right now, which, it's weird because with the climate of how the news has been in the media, like, the fact that it's being covered so much, I'm almost like, is this really going on?
Well, we said in the beginning, they're not talking about the other stuff anymore.
Yeah, they're not.
No one's saying a word about the other stuff.
Yeah.
They're just talking about this. Another thing, not to kind of get off the conspiracy trail, but nobody wants this war. There's people marching in the streets of Russia that don't want the war either. The Ukrainians don't want the war. Nobody wants this. Like, I don't understand like where this is even coming from. I get like
people never go to war. It's always the governments that go to war.
Yeah.
Like people don't,
the people are the ones that lose.
Yeah, and they don't win. So it's like, even the side that wins, the people that fought the war don't win. The only people that win are the government people and the people in power. That's it.
And every single phase of the war, you lose, right? Because whether you're losing troops or you're losing, or you're losing the overall war, your economy's taking a fucking dump. Like, and then the war's over and like you're recovering from this. Like, there's never been a point in history where, maybe I can't say never been a point in history, in like modern wars, where like, people walk away unscathed. Like everybody loses something.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like the wars, like I shouldn't say wars because, technically there needs to be a declaration of war, but it's like they don't even do that anymore.
They're saying it's not a war. Russia's like,
this is an invasion. He's saying it's not an occupation. He's like, I'm not here to occupy the Ukraine. He just wants to like topple the government, which is like, what? Like either way, I mean, I don't know the politics, like I said, of it. My question was more so, like, what does war look like today? Like 2022. So, because I don't want to get too deep into the politics, because I'll start talking out of my ass about something I don't know about.
From how is the strategy going to be applied, and then what is going to be used? Like, are there going to be super secret, like cool drones?
Something like that. And also, like, is this the only way that we consider conflict to be real? Right? Like, if it's tangible, viewable war and conflict, like explosions, shooting, missiles, invasions, is it also considered war when you have entire countries, like, hacking internet databases? Is that like the same kind of an attack? Is that the same kind of, given it's not physical violence, but it's equally, if not more so, crippling to a country as a whole and over the long term? If you have somebody like, there's certain countries, like you always see it like in the media, or if you follow like technology, there's certain countries that are well known for having incredibly advanced like computer programming people and engineers that hack and do crazy shit, So, and remember that there was just that recent, you were the one that told me about it. There was just a recent, like internet attack. Wasn't there like a some country in Europe was hit? Didn't you tell me that? And I was like, this is really tricky timing that this kind of scan. I think it was the Ukraine, wasn't it?
Well,
wasn't it like
today? Did we talk about this today? Because
no, we talked about it like last week.
Well, I think today Anonymous hacked a Chinese I don't know if it was like a database or well, I don't know. I don't remember what it was. I'd say it was a website.
Really, Anonymous did that?
Yeah, and they posted like their
manifesto or whatever they
posted like a message to like the governments, essentially telling them like this is like it was a warning shot. That's
oh
exactly
shit!
What
What did it say?
I could.
Damn, this is interesting to me. I'm intrigued by this shit.
Yeah, so
that vigilante computer shit. I wish I was smarter.
It's
well in that vein.
It's crazy because like when it comes to groups like Anonymous, it's like it doesn't even have to be like the original finding group. Like another group will form and finish off what the last group did.
Yeah, there's like different sets that just want to be affiliated. So
exactly, it's like who knows who like I don't believe that there's all these tunnels that lead back to this one route. I believe it's just
this guy wearing a V for Vendetta mask.
No, I think it's just like trees everywhere with different routes, which is even scarier.
Yeah, it is scarier
when you think about it. But it says Anonymous hacks Chinese site, Russian device as a warning shot over the Ukraine. And let's see if this one will tell me what they said. The way I found it was just like this. There's a website you could use to see, because they took the website down, but they took it. There's a website you could use to see like websites how they did look.
Yeah.
Oh, this is too hard to read because of the way it is. Okay. It says I'm not gonna be able to read it.
Well, I don't want you to feel like obligated to read the whole thing because it's going to be extensive. But the gist of it,
it's not even that's too long. It's like you see how the page is.
Oh yeah, it
doesn't fit all the text in there.
You can't like turn your phone and turn it back and it'll orient properly.
It's not. It's the whatchamacallit. It's like the no. I'd still get cut off.
No, I mean now turn it back. Like sometimes if you turn it one way and turn it.
No, it's not. It's not oriented inappropriately. It's not set up for like my device. It's like.
You want me to do it on my iPhone?
Sure.
You do it on my iPhone. We could probably be able to read it then.
Sure. You want me to send it to you? You can
no,
do it on your iPhone.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that Chinese propaganda on my phone.
So then don't fucking say nothing.
All right? Read it, or just give me. So the gist was the message was just a warning shot to them, like kind of like warning them to do what? Stop putting the Uyghur people in camps.
No, this isn't about the Uyghurs.
What's it about?
It's about Russia. It's about Putin.
Oh,
it's directly to Putin.
But you said they hacked China.
Yep.
Oh, so they were talking to China like, China, tell your boy to pull back. Is that what it is, really? Like the gist of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny, in one of the parts they say Anonymous never has any restrictions that says that only Homo sapiens could be part of. Sony learned that the hard way in 2011.
Oh,
and I was like, damn, what the fuck happened in 2011?
Did you look it up today?
I didn't end up looking it up. I just, now that I'm like looking over what it says.
That's interesting. Damn. So so Anonymous hacked them, telling them to tell Russia to chill out.
Yeah.
Wow.
As a warning shot. But that's what I only bring this up because it goes to what you were saying when it comes to
like what war looks like today.
Like what war looks like, right? Because cybercrime exists.
Yeah.
And it could be just as detrimental, maybe not from like a lives perspective, but you can ruin a country's economy, and that could that affects everybody.
And that affects years to come.
Yeah, it's even like what's going on with Russia right now with all like the EU banks like freezing their money. Like, although like people aren't saying like all right, we're gonna retaliate against Russia with with military force. What about this? Now what if we hold all your fucking money?
Yeah.
And what if we stop sending, like, what if we, they stop allowing people to import certain goods to there? Like, what if we just cut you out of everything,
Yeah, I mean, that's not today again, war today. I mean, that would be a good tactic. That would be, hopefully it's effective. It's just Putin has a whole lot of hammers and everybody to him is a nail. You know what I'm saying? So he just like, don't really, but it's interesting because I wonder also, like, in terms of social media and stuff like that, like, do you think that it would be possible, or it's been done, that countries have waged kind of attacks on social media in a way of persuading people?
Oh, propaganda?
Propaganda, like swaying elections in different countries, because that happened. It swayed. I forget the country that it was. There was a I forget where it was. It was a foreign country. It had nothing to do with the U.S. There was a foreign country that had a like a whole campaign of propaganda that was spread across their social media platforms in their country, and it completely swayed an election.
Well, I definitely agree with the fact that
and that changes like the balance of power,
Yeah.
globally. If you want someone to be elected somewhere because he and you and him have like a low key, deal under the table, like, and you help him get elected, you help that person, and that's leverage for you in that part of the world.
Yeah. That'd be difficult with this particular case, because like what they would be persuading us to is to be anti-war, right? Because that's what the media is portraying right now. And I don't think they'd be able to turn that around. I mean, maybe they could. You know what? With the power of the internet, and people are smart these days, they could probably put out things to make people, think that this is a great idea, and people would probably eat it up. If they like blamed it on like Latin Americans, that people would probably eat this shit up. They'd be like, yeah, they're over there taking the jobs.
Well, those people aren't Latin Americans.
I said if they blamed it on Latin Americans. That was just a joke.
Yeah, it's one or the other. It's like they're taking all the jobs, or they don't ever work.
Yeah.
It's like, which one is it?
And they're criminals.
Which one is it? Taking all the jobs or not working at all? You can't have both.
No, but yeah, I definitely think it's sad, but yeah, I definitely think that's possible. With enough propaganda, you could convince a fucking
Yeah, I mean, it happened in America. Think about it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
happens every election.
Claudio said United States.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if not Kanye, and we could get into Kanye,
My man Kanye.
But I'm telling you right now, if like if Kylie Jenner was like, you know what, I really stand behind Russia, there would be like a slew of like young fucking teens talking about looking up and trying to validate what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's no big deal because it kind of was Russia at one point,
Yeah, and they really, that is sad and crazy as it is. I think you're right.
Yo, if Kylie Jenner gets behind, if the Kardashians get behind Russia, they could really turn they could really turn the story around.
Yeah, bro. Yikes!
Isn't that insane?
It is crazy, man. I'm telling you right now, man. It's like, I mean, that's how they push so many agendas in the past. Is like they just get people's favorite people to support it. Like,
yeah, remember Vote or Die?
Oh my God! Remember Dare?
Oh my God, it was Scruff McGruff. What was his name?
God.
Detective Dog?
Yeah, Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois. No, that was, was that him?
He only used to prevent forest fires.
No, that's Smokey the Bear. Scruff McGruff, you're right, but I don't think he was Dare. He was different. I think he was like separate.
A dog in a fucking trench coat.
Yeah, that was Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. I remember that fucking the whole mailing address. It was like a song.
What would you mail them?
There was like something like for you to like join
they definitely sell merch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You kidding me, man? I want that Scruff McGruff. I want that on a T-shirt, bro.
Yeah, that dude looked like a predator.
Yeah, bro.
In hindsight, fucking dog in a fucking trench coat.
How dare you?
And a fedora.
How dare you? He didn't have a fedora. You added that. He just had a pop collar.
Nah, he had a hat of some kind.
We about to find out. He didn't have a hat.
He had I'm telling you, the guy had like a fedora.
He did not have no hat.
If it wasn't a fedora, it was like a bobber or something like that. It was like a detective hat. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
It was a dog in a coat and a hat, and he did have his collar pop like a fucking weirdo. That dog.
I'll show you right now.
Let's hear it.
He ain't got no hat, son.
Let me see him.
Take a bite at a crime.
Is he a Dane? Show the people. Right
Scruff McGruff, Chicago, Illinois.
I can't believe you remember that.
Look at him. Swag.
He was super jiggy.
Son. Come on, bro.
I don't remember him with pants and shit. Damn. I must have seen like the pervert Scruff.
Yeah, you must have seen the weird one.
Yeah.
You seen the Scruff McGruff that came on after Sábado Gigante. That's what you seen. El Puch.
That's super fucking funny.
That's definitely what you saw, bro.
Yo, Dare is fucking hilarious.
Dare's good, man. They don't have programs like that no more in the school.
No.
Yeah, they swapped out Dare for what's your pronouns. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a
Oh
different
my God,
it's a different
bro.
thing, bro. It's a different thing. Like the girls are getting hit in the face with dodgeballs by the biggest jock in school now. It's like this shit is equal. Whack.
What's going on in Texas? Is there some legislation down there where now I don't want to butcher
Yeah.
it if you know it better than I do.
Yeah, they passed some legislation recently that said that hormone therapy as well as some forms of regendering surgery is now considered child abuse on minors, which I don't know how it ever could have been considered anything else.
What?
Like, I don't know how it could have been considered anything else, yo.
We don't got it. Now that I'm saying it out loud, we don't have to touch this one, but it's we could just call it what it is. Interesting as fuck that anybody would second guess it.
Yeah, I found it
Wait,
interesting.
what?
Yeah, I'm confused, but
This wasn't illegal already?
yeah. I don't know. Apparently, there's somewhere where you could do that. But so you mentioned Kanye, and you know that's my guy.
Yeah, I know Justin's been in this fucking Kanye genius wormhole. How many times have you watched it multiple times?
Oh yeah.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about the Netflix documentary about Kanye West has recently been released called Jeen. Yes, it's in the title. They just released the second episode. When was it?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
He dropped it yesterday.
You watch it?
Yeah. Hell yeah, I watched it. I watched it twice.
What do you Whoa! What do you think?
Bro. Well, I watched it once and then had it on in the background while I was like making beats and stuff. I had it on mute, and I was like looking at it. But what I think of it, I thought it was great, man.
I feel bad because I haven't completed the first one, as you know, and been talking a lot of shit to me about. And Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, guys. Not only did I not finish the first one, but I didn't watch the second one yet either.
Yeah, but it's really good. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I love to watch that. I've always been into watching like the come up of an artist.
Yeah, I was listening to like other people review it, and it's interesting how nobody that I seen review it thought that Kanye had like a struggle. They were like, yo, it's crazy to see him like on the grind, like, and I was kind of like, I always knew that he had to grind. I always knew, and it may be because like the people maybe because he's closer to the East Coast than he is to the West Coast, and the people I've been like listening to review it are like West Coast media sources. But like I always knew that he had to grind, and how they didn't see him as a rapper originally. Like they only wanted him as a producer. Like,
well, the people reviewing it are probably they might be younger. They might not know these things. Like if you like, this was prime time me in like early hip hop mode. Like this is like 2000. This is like 2000. That time period. Like, come on, bro. I was in ninth grade. I was in high school. Like that's the age right there. Like that's when I was writing. I was writing in class all the time. I was just writing rhymes, all the time. And that to me was, The Blueprint came out 2001, and that album like changed my life. So then when I sit and I watch this, because I already know a lot of the story, like I knew he gave all those beats to Jay-Z for free on The Blueprint. He did 5 beats on that album.
Oh, I didn't know they were free.
Oh yeah, he did 5 beats on that album. That was like his like attempt to get in.
But he ended up getting money somehow, like in the back end, right?
I'm sure he did. And plus he made so many contacts through them and so many other people that he was producing. He was producing Freeway, he was producing for Beanie Siegel, he was producing for all estate property. He was producing for other artists like in the area. Like generally he was producing for like Talib Kweli, he was producing for Mos Def. There was a ton of people. And to see all that is crazy. To actually get to witness it. And it's got to be the longest stretch of documentary footage. There's footage. The movie, it starts back in Chicago when he's on the streets in Chicago, like before he ever even came to New York to do Baseline. To Baseline, which ended up being like Rockefeller's home base there, that studio, and really getting in the mix with everybody over there, like Cameron and everybody from Rockefeller. It's just so crazy, man.
Can you talk about what Kanye did with like 808s? Was he like somebody that just brought that like sound, that like that specific sound, or like those? Because it's like an assortment of instruments in a beat, right? That's what that is. The 808s.
I can explain it to you. An 808 is just it's a drum machine that came out years and years and years ago, and it's a crazy way that it was designed. It was actually designed by like this intern. Like it was like an intern, I think in another country. I think it was somewhere in Asia, and the guy was like an intern. They were like, "Yo, we need you to put together like sounds for this drum beat, this drum machine," and he was like, had no idea. So that's why they don't even sound like drums. And then it ended up becoming like its own thing entirely and taking over different genres of music because the sounds were so different.
Oh, I didn't know that's what I thought. 808 was like a plug-in for like like a beat making software.
No, 808 was a drum machine. There's a 909, there's a 707, there's an 808.
Okay.
So the 909 was really fundamentally foundational for dance music and house music. They used a lot of the 909 and the 303. Those were those. And then the 808 ended up like, it had bounced around. It was used by a lot of people, like pop artists and shit in like the 80s, stuff like that. And then later on, it resurfaced in like rap music and down south music. And the reason why he calls that album 808s and Heartbreak is all the drums come from the 808.
Was he responsible for bringing like those drums back to like rap or bringing them to rap? Or were like was everybody using them?
No, it was kind of everyone.
Okay.
But he made it really lit, and then like the down south like ran with it and stuff like that. Like in that, because originally what 808s were presented as was just that bass note sounding kick that's in all different like pitches in a song. Like it'll be like doom 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 doom, like that really low bass, like boom beam boom 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 boom. You know that bass note that really like rides the beat. That's what everybody thought the 808 was, but really that was only one sound from the 808 drum machine. So the drum machine has weird snares, it has weird hi-hats, it has weird kicks, it has all different drum instruments in it that all sound really not like a drum set, not like drums. So that's what made these beat machines really popular and shit, is they were just completely different. Like
I never knew if Kanye was like so closely associated to that because he was like responsible for bringing it to hip hop or what the story was behind that. So it's interesting to learn it's a drum machine. I didn't even know that. I thought it was like a plug-in of drums.
It is now. Now you could just buy 808 drum packs, or you could download them, drum packs, and I could use them in my software. Like I could use them in Logic or something like that. But the original ones came from there. It's like a sequencer. It's just a machine with a bunch of buttons that you can activate or deactivate. They have a little light on them, and then you just assign different drums with the knobs to like each button, and then you can just make a drum pattern, and it keeps looping. It keeps cycling like.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So when you put it, you could be like boom clack clack clack, and it'll be like boom clack clack clack, boom clack clack clack, boom clack clack, and then you just
you can add more on top of it.
Exactly. You just click the buttons in the middle, and it creates a pattern that then loops, and then people would track that in, and that would be their drums for a dance record fire. Or for that's where it comes from. So it's cool though. It's a cool sound.
That's fire. You want to talk about Gordon Ryan and how he's finally fucking bringing in the big bucks to fucking competitive jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, man. So if anybody's unfamiliar, I mean, there's a ton of ridiculous athletes and martial artists that are killers in the sport of jiu-jitsu, but for some reason, it's very difficult to follow and know what you're watching if you don't understand the sport. So I think it's hard to catch on with a mainstream audience. I mean, it just looks like people just pulling on each other's arms and stuff, and sloppy wrestling sometimes.
And it's not just jiu-jitsu; it's also like that, and like a lot of those Olympic sports too. Aside from like boxing, like swimming, and I'm sure those guys ain't making the big bucks either.
No, and what exactly do they get paid from? Sponsorships. Yeah. So that right there's an athlete in competitive jiu-jitsu named Gordon Ryan, and he's actually from Jersey, and he trained in New York City at Renzo Gracie's academy with Gary Tonin and John Danaher and the Danaher Death Squad, which is actually like the best grappling team, kind of possibly ever assembled competitively in contemporary jiu-jitsu, and he just talks a lot of shit. So he's developed a massive following, and he's also super dominant in the way he performs. Like, this is a kid from Jersey training in New York that is dominating world-class Brazilian jiu-jitsu grapplers and saying how he's going to submit them.
That's the craziest part, how he calls his submission.
Yeah, he calls it beforehand. and then he finishes them that way. And then I saw when he handed an envelope to the commentators, and they were like, "What is this?" He's like, "Open it at the end." He finishes the dude by triangle and tells him to open up the envelope. The dude opens up the envelope, and there's a picture of a triangle. And it's just like, that shit is crazy. I'm like, this guy's a savage. So initially, because it's a martial art, he was not well received by the like higher guard, like the old guard of jiu-jitsu, like the old school Brazilian guys, the old school martial artists that think, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu is supposed to be a certain type of martial art, right? And with his shit talking and his brashness and his just finishing everybody, he just gained such popularity and people hated him, and now he's bringing up the money and the eyeballs to jiu-jitsu that it's needed. So now he just signed a deal with crypto cash. Bitcoin Cash, worth $100,000. So he signed a sponsorship with them to just wear their logo at ADCC 2022.
Yeah, it's fire, man. And I know some people listening out there like, damn, $100,000, that's no big deal. But these guys aren't getting even paid that to compete in these.
No,
in these
there's some of these tournaments that they don't get paid at all. There's some of these tournaments where they, winner gets like 10 grand, and that's not a lot of money considering the travel, considering the amount it costs. Like, to train jiu-jitsu is expensive. Like, to eat like a professional athlete is expensive. To pay your coaches, expensive.
Yeah, and the truth is when you start introducing money to sports or to like things like this, is when you start to really bring out like the best competition, right? Because there's people that don't like that. There's a lot of people who don't do it because they can't. There's no money in it, right? The same if they didn't pay professional athletes as much as they paid them, not everybody would want to be one, But like basketball players, football players, whatever the case may be. One of the reasons why people want to be baseball players is because of all the money they're making, right? The money and the fame. When you start introducing money into these sports, like, it starts bringing up the level of competition because it allows more people to come in because they believe that they can make a career out of this.
Yeah, agreed. Before, like, the only way that people considered making a career in jiu-jitsu was like opening a school.
Yeah.
So, there were a lot of people that would compete just to win, to stack up their resume and then open a school. And be like, look, these are my accolades. I've won this many ADCCs. I've won this many IBJJF World Championships. Like, all that stuff then equates to, clearly I know what I'm doing. Come train at my school.
Yeah.
Like, now it's you can actually make money competing and with sponsorships. It's crazy.
Yeah, good on him, man. Good on him. I hope it trickles down to the other guys.
Yeah, it already has.
Yeah.
Like I think he took credit for it, like, in a way. He's like, you guys can thank me later. Like, they've increased the purse like double in this recent jiu-jitsu tournament. Like, it was supposed to be like winner gets like 40 grand. They raised it to like 90 or 100,000 or something like that. And he's like, look, this is what happens when you are interesting and you get people to like look at you and then you perform.
Well, that's the same reason why Sean O'Malley is going to get what he's going to get after this fight. After his next fight, his contract's up. He's going to get renegotiated, and he knows. And Dana said it that he's going to get what he deserves because he's not just knocking dudes out in the octagon. He also is a personality outside of the octagon. He brings new eyes to the sport, and people are like watching him. He's got like a cult following. He gets pay-per-view buys. People buy the pay-per-view to see him fight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. He's. Remember we talked about this a couple weeks ago where you asked me if he's gonna get a full set sponsorship, and I was like, no, they sponsor somebody out of Kansas City. There was an event in one of those places, like to find a fighter. What's the show called?
It's called Dana White's Looking for a Fight.
Looking for a Fight.
Yeah.
So they did an episode in Kansas City or I think it was Kansas City, and the Nelk Boys came and they picked a fighter to sponsor, and like they're in negotiations with him. The guy already has a management team, but now they're also in negotiations with, you said it, but you guessed it before it happened, but Sean O'Malley, and he's going to be like a full send fighter.
That would make much more sense.
Yeah, but the thing, and like, but that's why he's going to be able to demand the big bucks to kind of go full circle to what we were talking about before, for the same reason Gordon Ryan can, because their personalities outside of like just that realm of whatever company they're working for.
Yeah, their promotion.
Yeah, they're independent of that.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley's making money off of merch. He's making money off of YouTube. He's making money off of Instagram, Twitch, all these things. Like, he's making money off of.
Yeah, and he brings eyes to the sport. They
Exactly.
want to watch him. Like, that's what Conor did and changed the entire face of MMA. Like, that's when you have a personality like that that's that captivating and that charismatic, people are drawn to watch, and that just equates to more money for the promotion.
Yeah.
So Dana White would be crazy not to pay him what he deserves, because he's just going to, it's an investment to pay Sean O'Malley appropriately, because then you're just going to make money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Because he's going to deliver for you.
Is it like that in other sports? Like, is it like that in the NBA? Or is it just about who's the nicest? I feel like it's like the opposite. Like, they don't want these guys to get too crazy outside.
It depends, because I saw it happen once, I think, in recent memory.
Allen
And
Iverson?
that's the Ball family.
Oh, yeah.
LaMelo Ball and Lonzo Ball, their dad went so crazy with drawing so much attention to them. It was laughable at times. Remember they tried to launch that shoe?
Yeah.
And that shit flopped so hard. And
But can you just give some background real quick? There's how many brothers are there?
3.
And they're all in the NBA?
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're all in the NBA, but there's only one of them that's really that good. There's only one that's performing the way
Is that the
he was
youngest one?
expected to, the youngest one. And you know,
He wasn't even the best one, right? He was like, wasn't he like not as good and ended up having to go somewhere else to play and then came back to play the NBA?
Well, no, he was very good, but he was still young and still like small and a little thin and stuff. He was young, but the NBA was still going to draft him.
Yeah.
Like, people were talking about drafting him, and his father said no. And they were like, "What do you mean? Like, you're not going to put your son in the draft?" Like, everybody expected him to enter the draft, and he said no. And his dad had him sign a professional contract overseas, and everyone's like, "This is the biggest mistake of his career. I can't believe it." He went over there, turned into a man, and bust everybody's ass over there, and came back a grown-ass man, like, where's the money at? And now he's performing like a savage. Like, he's really...
Now he's busting ass in the NBA.
Yeah, he's busting ass in the NBA, and it's like... And that's becoming a new not a new market, but a new approach that younger athletes are taking in basketball. They're not automatically saying college, NBA. They're like, maybe I'll go overseas, too. Like, because if you look, there's a lot of players that are coming from overseas that are still rather young.
Well, didn't Kobe play in Spain?
Yeah, he did play in Spain, but he came out of high school. He got drafted out of high school. I think he did play a little bit in Spain. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But people play overseas. I mean, you remember Stephon Marbury was playing overseas. There's a real, like, Ricky Rubio played overseas.
Yeah, you don't have to go over there when your career's over. Like, it's not just where your career goes to die, you know, where you go you're like you're playing for the Globetrotters or something like that.
Yeah, that's what we used to think.
Yeah.
You know, coming up, it was like, damn, you're not going D1 and into the NBA. It's like, nah, you know, I'm going to play over in Spain, or I'm going to play over in Turkey. Now it's like, nah, I'm about to make $6 million to go play in Turkey. I'm out.
There's money over there, bro.
There's money, bro.
Those Asian leagues, those Chinese leagues.
There's money over there. Like, Stephon Marbury was making bank over there when he was playing.
Bro, where was he playing? China,
I think he was playing in China. Yeah, he was.
And he was fucking. He's like a
celebrity. He's a
superstar,
a
over there. Superhero,
bro.
Dude, he's like a Korean pop star in China.
Yeah, bro, for real, man. It's very different over there, and that's becoming kind of a thing. And I like that. I like that things are different. It brings competition into it. I like that people are taking different approaches. I like that people are starting to second guess college. I like that people are starting to think about on-the-job training, start my own company. Let me see, there's other ways to do this.
You know what other athletes were affected by similar circumstances?
Who?
Gamers. When League of Legends.
Yeah, he threw me off with athletes.
League of Legends started having like super high purse fucking super high purses in their competitions, and then it made room for games like Fortnite. Fortnite was having like, you could have made a bunch of money off of Fortnite.
Yeah,
and now there's like, and they've always been Call of Duty tournaments and stuff like that, but I feel like the price went up like after Fortnite. I think League of Legends did a good job. The price went up in League of Legends. You know, they were making
price went up, meaning what? Like salaries?
No, how much you got for winning. I think like, I could very well be wrong. Tom, if you're in here, please double check this. I think like when I was in like, you know, season like 3 or 4, it was like $120,000 for like to win like Worlds, which is like a lot of money.
And that's split between a team?
Yeah, the team.
How many people?
Let's see. There's 5. No, 4. Yeah, 5. 5
Right.
people plus there's a coach too.
So that's less than $20,000 a person.
Yeah, that's not. But it's big money, from what they were making. Just like Gordon Ryan, same thing. But they were. I'm pretty sure there's people winning like $500,000, $1 million on Fortnite.
Okay, yeah, now there is, I'm sure, and it's sponsorships, I'm sure too.
They also have sponsorships, so that I'm sure they subsidize some of their income with like sponsorship dollars, and they're playing for an organization.
Yeah,
Like they're paying for like a team that's sponsored by Samsung or this company or that company.
yeah.
Like the teams are all sponsored.
Huh.
Dota 2, similar to League, has always had large purses. Largest being the international 40 million split 5 ways. Holy crap!
40 million. What was that for?
Bugga won the Fortnite World Cup, banked $2 million. $2 million.
No split.
No, that's fire. Clash of Clans does it too. I didn't even know Clash of Clans did, but that's what I'm saying. Like you could,
there's money to be made.
Yeah, similar to like what's going on in Jiu-Jitsu right now.
Yeah.
That happened in the to the gamers as well.
What it really comes from is demand. It's like, how many people can we get to watch this?
Bro.
And it's like, once that demand comes, that's where you can command more as an athlete or a competitor, because they're making more money, so now they can pay you more.
Dude, I remember watching like watching friends like live streaming League of Legends like tournaments on their phone, and there's like 30,000 people or whatever in the lobby watching these guys, or 17,000 people. There's like just thousands of people watching it. I remember Juan.
Juan used to watch that shit all the time. Like, what are you watching?
Walk into the locker room and this dude's watching this shit, and he's like, "Yo, look how many people are in here right now." And there's just like thousands of people watching this shit. So you're right. It's putting eyes to it.
Yeah, it's a commodity. Attention is a commodity now, and people pay for it. Like companies will pay you if they can get you to look. Like that's why you have somebody like Kim Kardashian. She'll make $100,000 for one Instagram post, and it's like you're like, what? That's ridiculous. But then you look at her following, and you're like, she has 100 million people following her. So by you paying her, let's say 100,000 to make one Instagram post, that could potentially be seen by 100 million people.
Yeah, dude, they're saying, you look at what Joe Rogan did to Spotify. They pay the guy $200 million, and then, but he brings like their overall value up by like $1 billion or some ridiculous shit like that. It's like, yeah, they paid him a lot, but they also like their valuation went up. Like they're worth way more money now.
Yeah, it's like Jordan Peterson said. He was like, see, the thing is, Spotify is on Joe Rogan. They're like, he said, Joe Rogan's not on Spotify. He said, Spotify's on Joe Rogan. He's like, that's what people fail to realize. Like that he is the market. That guy he's got the biggest podcast in the world.
Dude, you want to talk about bringing eyes places? All the fucking ears that he brought to Spotify didn't bring me. I'm a rock.
Yeah.
It's a lot to move me.
Yeah.
But he brought a lot of ears to Spotify.
Yeah, he brings ears to anything he touches. Like every guest he has on, he mentions them and they explode.
Yeah.
He mentions them and they explode. Mm-hmm. And it's like all he has to do is literally say, hey, pull that up, Jamie. Who's that artist? His name? God, his work is incredible. And you can sit and watch. By the next day, he'll have a 60% increase in followers.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's unbelievable. But then my question becomes like, where are they all at right now?
Like, do they take that momentum and keep it
all
going?
The people that he blew up, where are they at? Where he's getting all this heat and all this negative attention? Where are these people?
Oh,
like,
okay.
Where are you guys? Like, there should be a coalition of people.
Well, that's got to be fair. There's a lot of people who publicly supported him.
Yeah, but not as many people that he put on as I thought. Like Jocko Willink said it. I want to know where David Goggins is at.
I think I read a statement from David Goggins.
Did you?
Yeah, 100% read a statement from him.
Good.
That's the black ball dude that be running, right?
Yeah, the guy that's like, stay hard.
Yeah, he 1,000% said something about it.
All right, good.
He said that I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but what I remember the statement saying, it was like a picture Instagram post with like pictures of him and Joe, and he said, while it's never appropriate to like use those words, like, and then he said, boom, a bunch of nice things about Joe and why he like Joe's a good guy. So
yeah, he's legit, you know, and but anyway, like that's so Spotify's on the Joe Rogan show.
When I went to when I used to visit my chick in school, I was like, that's when I was like deep into Joe Rogan at that point. I would listen to him on the way there. My girl went to school in Massachusetts. We live in New York, so it was like a 3.5 hour drive to get there. And I would listen to him the whole way there, the whole way back. I was like, you know, inundated with like just I couldn't consume enough of him. And I remember somebody had gotten in the car with us, and they were having a and I had him. I was listening to him, and they were like, "Oh, you listen to this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "He's a racist," and I was kind of like, "What?"
Somebody said that to you?
Somebody said it to me, and I was like, "What?" And it's so funny that like this is happening now because somebody said that to me years ago. This is like probably 6 years ago, dude. And they said that to me, and I was like, "How?" I was like, "How is that? How do you?" I said, "What metric are you using to measure that?" Like,
without intent,
you hear him saying that.
Without intent is no racism. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. Without intent and context, there's no such thing.
And like, why do you get to decide what the good one is and what the bad one is, right? Because we just talked about it a couple weeks ago with this show that's coming out, Dear White People, or so. What's it called? No, it's
that
called,
show's already out.
No, that show exists already. The show that we were referring to is called Everything's Gonna Be All White.
Correct.
Which is this like blatantly racist show against white people. It's like, I don't know. We talked about it before, so I'm not going to get too deep into it.
Yeah,
but if you guys are interested in what we're referring to, you can check it out. It's on episode 74. It's called Everything's Gonna Be All White. It's a show that it's possibly already out on Stars or one of the Showtime. And it's just people just bashing on like they're saying white people, but it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But he's definitely not that.
No, I like Joe.
Sure. That's for sure. He's definitely, you know, there's
it's like when people say he's super right wing too. And like then you really hear about his stances on things and you're like, "Oh, he's not really that far right."
Yeah, it's, you know, the world is just full of a lot of people that just listen to what somebody tells them about something or about someone, and they just run with whatever that person told them. It's like, I think we're just so distracted and so busy all the time that nobody really has time to fact check shit. They're just like, they're more so fact checking their trust of the person that told them. You know?
Yeah, you're 100% right.
That's what it becomes.
Yeah.
Like, if you tell me something, I'm like, I don't really got to look that up. I trust Berto.
Yeah, it's
that's some bullshit. I can't believe they did that. And it's like, wait a minute.
And then you say it to somebody else, and then they trust you.
Yeah. So then it becomes this cycle of just people not doing their own research, and then we try to put the responsibility on the person that originally said it. We're like, it's that person's fault. It's like, no, it's your fault for not looking into it.
You got it. Yeah, we got to hold ourselves accountable, and I do it too.
Yeah, everybody does it sometimes. But what we need to do is you know, if what you're saying is going to potentially reflect on someone negatively, you know, just do your research. Just be like, you know, just try to do your best to look into things yourself instead of having everybody tell you everything about everything.
When I was a kid, my mom didn't buy any Procter and Gamble anything. So like, no fucking Procter and Gamble makes a lot of shit.
Yeah, what do they make? Give me an example.
What? Bro.
Give me just a couple random things.
I'm going to look it up, but real quick, I just want to touch on this. Fortnite racked up to 14 million watched hours during the World Cup weekend. 14 million watched hours.
That's a bunch of wasted hours.
What? Dude, stop it, bro.
That's so many wasted hours. Good Lord. I'm just kidding.
I'm so insulted about that shit. I know you're joking. Like, it gets under my skin.
Anybody can say that about anything. You can say that about somebody that watches basketball, somebody that watches jiu-jitsu, somebody that watches beat making videos or whatever.
Okay, so you want to know what Procter and Gamble?
Oh my God, Claudio said Febreze.
Febreze. That's not even the fucking tip of the iceberg, bro.
That's more than enough for me.
Loves, Pampers, Bounce, Ariel, Cheer, Downy, fucking Gain, Tide, Charmin, Puffs, Always, all the Always, Tampax, Gillette, Venus, Aussie, the hair, the shampoo, Head and Shoulders, Old Spice, Pantene, Cascade, Dawn, Febreze, Mr. Clean.
They make
Swiffer,
Dove soap, you said?
Crest.
Damn, I got a lot of I got a lot of Procter and Gamble in my house. What does your mom buy? She got nothing left.
Pepto-Bismol, Vicks.
Ay, mi madre, no estaba comprando Vicks. Ay, no.
My mom she definitely had like a certain thing because my mom definitely had some Olay in the house.
She had an asterisk.
Secret.
Damn, son.
Bro, they own everything because at one point somebody told her like they support like the devil worshippers or something like that. There was like some kind of tie with them and worshiping the devil. And we had this conversation the other day about another company. But there was some kind when I said that we were talking about Chick-fil-A and I said,
oh yeah,
I don't eat Chick-fil-A. They don't support the gays. I truly don't even know that. Somebody told me they don't support the gays and I just said it. Somebody told me Chick-fil-A doesn't support the gays, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not eating Chick-fil-A. Just like somebody told my mom Procter & Gamble loves the devil, and then she was like, nope, not buying that. It's like...
She started a lifelong commitment to a boycott.
Dude, and she like passed
off a
it
hearsay.
On. Yeah.
She raised you with it.
They make some of the best shit.
Bro, they make some of the most necessary shit. Are you crazy?
Crazy.
No, I had way too many Procter & Gamble products in my house.
You didn't even know they had all that shit, did you?
Bro, they own me. I belong to Procter & Gamble. They distribute me. I'm here on this podcast courtesy of Procter & Gamble.
Dude, you turn everything around. I see it everywhere now. That's one of the companies I'm always on the lookout for. Not because like I boycott them or anything like that, because I do. They make good shit.
So that's one of those Fortune 500. That's one of those companies that like is probably in every ETF.
Bro, it's
investment across like a lot of.
It's hard to get away from those guys. Even if like you did want, like I said, like my mom definitely has some like
Procter & Gamble stock probably.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And you know what's funny is I wonder if that's even true. Like I never did the research on it myself. Just kind of go full circle with what you were talking about. We do have to hold ourselves responsible for like when we intake information. Like just don't take it at face value. Do your research. At least figure out if it's like somewhat relevant, like correct. Because that's what's happening on Facebook and all the social media right now. People it's crazy that you could just post like blatantly wrong information. And I don't want to get into like a fucking
that's not crazy.
Wormhole.
You should be able to put whatever you want. It's crazy that people look at their titi or their cousin as a news source.
I'm not saying it's crazy that you can. I'm saying it's crazy that people do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's crazy. People say and post stupid shit in the history of mankind. It's been happening forever.
You're right.
It's just this is the only time in history people have been dumb enough to believe anything they see.
Yeah, you're right.
That's like anything they see. People get their news from memes.
That's so fucking true.
People you could show a meme that's like, would you believe that this man right here assaulted this woman right here? And if they tag somebody on that man's picture, people would just be like, you asshole, woman beater, assault, savage.
You get canceled, bro.
Be like, what?
I remember this video my girl sent me, and it was like a crocodile and like a jaguar or something, or like a cat of some kind. And I remember the original video. The crocodile like grabs it, and then somehow, some way, like the cat ends up like killing this. It's not even a crocodile. It's what's the small?
It's a caiman.
Caiman. And the cat, whatever that cat is, if you want to identify that one, you can too.
Yeah, it's probably a jaguar. They eat caiman. Yeah. They hunt caiman.
So it ends up coming out of the water with the caiman in its mouth.
It's like a leopard, jaguar, something like that.
The video that she showed me gets like cut in the middle of like when the thing brings it down, and it gets to another video of like another caiman like eating a different kind of cat. And she's like, "Isn't this crazy?" And I'm like, "That's not real." And like I show her the real video, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like why the fuck would somebody do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Yeah. Somebody just took that video. And
it's an experiment. It's an experiment. Like there's so many things viral like that.
CCP.
Those things are done by those things. A lot of those videos are done by companies. Like I remember. You remember when you remember that
Windows Mojave?
What?
Windows Mojave, when Windows was going around asking people, "Are you excited about Windows? The new Windows that are coming out?" And they were like, "Yeah, totally excited about it." And they're like, "Yeah, Windows Mojave, you really excited?" And they were like, "Yeah." And they were showing people it, and they were like, "Oh my god, this is great!" But it was like the same operating system.
Yeah, people are that's what people do. They just believe whatever they're told. I don't remember what I was saying, but I'm
sorry. Spaz in the chat says, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet."
Abraham
Lincoln.
See, and people would read that online and be like, "Yo, Abraham Lincoln." So shout out Abraham Lincoln. You smart as hell, bro.
Yo,
Where you from, dog?
Yo, he's been saying this since back in the day. You don't believe anything you hear on the internet.
Yeah, this is why they call him Honest Abe. Duh. He invented the internet.
You remember we were at work? Me and Justin used to work together, and there was this old dude that used to work with us. And what was he trying to tell us about when I told him? I was like, well, it's on the internet, so it's got to be real. And he just straight face looked at me and was like, yep. Talking about something.
You know, that's who runs wild with this internet false bullshit is older people.
Oh my God, dude.
That's why I got off of Facebook. All my aunts kept on sending me things that are not real. I'm like, this is not real. They're like, can you believe this story? I'm like, this is not a real story. This was
not real.
This was trending on Reddit 5 years ago, and it wasn't true then. It was a hoax. It was like, it was a joke. And now you're catching up so late that you think this is real and accurate and contemporary information. This is brand new. That shit is wild, man. That's who runs with it, because they don't understand the access that people have to just put things on the internet. They don't understand that you can alter the internet. You could just stick something on there. They don't know they can contribute to the internet.
My dad hates the fact that Facebook throws him ads, and like he buys things off these ads, and it always ends up being dog shit. My dad, the other day, there was like an advertisement on Facebook for some Pumas. My dad, and you know those Pumas that look like you could kind of just slip them on?
Yeah.
Look like kind of Yeezy, kind of like a mesh material. And they were nice, and so my dad orders like 4 of them, and they come in, and they're not Pumas. They're like some off-brand shit. They're like some, and he's like, "What the fuck is this?" He was like, "They were fucking Pumas." I'm like, "Dad, where'd you find this shit?" He goes, "I got it on Facebook," and I was like, "You can't buy any." I said,
"Yeah."
I keep telling my dad, I'm like, "Dude, they're all lies.
Yeah,
all of it. It's all a lie."
And it's like, no, it can't be. How could they let that happen? And it's like,
it's all a lie, dude.
And say, yo, we grew up. Well, like the internet happened, like it came into like homes when I was in like 6th grade.
You remember AOL? You had that dial-up?
Yeah, I had AOL. I had one friend that had the internet, and I would go to his house, and we would just look up South Park things. That's what we would do. We would use the internet to look up South Park. That's what and there were like probably 50 websites that you could go to, and the only ones that I knew was like South Park. I remember when I got my computer, like the next year, all I did was I went to South Park.
You just watched like all SP?
I just went like, and there were like stupid things. There was like no videos. You couldn't watch anything on there. It was just like stupid little interactive bullshit. It was like you could click it and like hear what Kenny might really sound like and shit. There was like all stupid little shit like
to
that.
See Kenny's face. When we first got internet in my house as a child, I didn't have it. Like my parents had it, and they let me one time like download a song, and I downloaded an Eminem song. It was like what was cleaning out my closet called? Was it?
Yeah.
I downloaded that song. I remember it took like
an
hour
day
and a half or some ridiculous shit. It took a long time.
Faster than I had.
And that was it. I was like, I was like hooked. I was like, oh my God. I didn't even get it the next year. I got it years later.
Yeah.
I didn't get internet, like my own internet, until like broadband came out. Until like we got off a dial-up.
I was the only one that had it because my parents like didn't have a need for it. They didn't need the internet. Like, so I got the internet. They put the computer in my bedroom.
Oh, that's cool.
They
taking up the phone line. You remember that shit?
Oh my God. I used to be online downloading a song. I'd be downloading a song or like some old Jenna Jameson clip or some shit that's my mom would pick the phone up and it would just knock my connection off. And I'm
Isn't that crazy? You remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember.
Couldn't be on the phone. I remember my mom had a fax machine in the house. She would just be screaming in the house, "Nobody pick up the phone!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "It's a fax. Don't pick up the phone." And if somebody else called while they were trying to fax it, it would fuck it all up.
Fuck it all up,
yeah,
bro.
Isn't fax machine the stupidest fucking thing in the world, bro? The fact that people still use fax machines pisses me off.
It's big in business still.
It's stupid in any industry. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody can, don't even try it. Nobody could tell me that a fax machine is necessary. I couldn't even think of a single reason why I would ever fucking need a fax machine in 2022.
You won't be able to get rid of the fax machine for like until everybody that came up with the fax machine is dead.
I don't even understand why people are even using it anymore.
because there's still a ton of people, a ton of old office workers and stuff like that, that's the way that they send things.
It's so dumb, bro. Fax machines are the dumbest fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they probably work if something were to go wrong with like your FiOS or some shit like that. You'd still be able to dial out and send something from like a landline type of technology. I think that's what it's useful for, is it sends the message via a different form of, doesn't it? It sends it like through a phone line, right? Instead of sending it through like...
Oh, it's not the same kind of signal. No, it's not the same way it would function on the internet.
So that might be beneficial in a way somehow.
It's inferior. That's the difference.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that are inferior to other things that we still use that, sometimes they still kind of make sense. I mean, there's like, there's nail guns, but a lot of people still have hammers.
Yeah, that's different. Like, you could rationalize a hammer over a nail gun. I don't think anybody could rationalize a fax machine over an email.
It does with aging capabilities. That's really what it comes down to. Understanding technology. I mean, we're a little arrogant about our understanding of technology, but that doesn't mean that like every generation is that way.
Yeah, this reminds me of like this weird argument I had with the security guard at my school one time, because in order to park on campus, you had to give them like your registration and like your license, and you would pay for a parking pass. So I didn't want to have to go bring my registration back to my car, so I just took a picture of it. And I go to the office, and I'm like, all right, so I got a picture of it, and he's like, no. He goes, I either need the registration or a photocopy of it. And I was like, well, this is a photocopy. It's just like a digital one. I was like, this is literally, I was like, what do you think that machine does? That machine just takes a picture of it and then prints it out. Yeah. I was like, it's a photocopy. And this guy, but we're talking about like technology and how people just don't, and he's just like,
he's like, you yanking my chain?
Yeah, he was
you
pissed,
being a
bro.
smart ass?
He was pissed. Somebody heard us arguing and came out and was like, yo, what's going on out here? And he was like, this guy doesn't have his registration and he just wants to show me a picture of it. And he was like, you know what, just we'll do it for you this once. And the guy was like, don't come back next semester. And I was like, fuck, I'm graduating this semester. It was my last semester. I'll never forget it. It was a semester before last because I didn't park my last semester. But anyways, it's funny how Yeah,
I think, like I said, in a generation or two, they'll be, trust me, bro, it's, they're going to be like, what are you doing? You still using 2 different screens on your computer? You got 2 monitors and shit. What you need is this joint right here that's got,
maybe, but I feel like faxes have been up for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't stick on the fucking Laserdisc for that long.
Nah, but it's like Spaz is right in the chat. He says there's many fax to email services. Like, you'll get an email of the fax. So from the machine, you just scan it in and you just send it to the email.
Yes.
So, but a fax is, there's a lot of places still use it. A lot of places. It's still used a lot in healthcare. If you look like sometimes your records, you got to get faxed to the other doctor. Fax over shit. Yeah, man.
I don't know why. It just irritates me. Like when anybody tells me, I'm just like, what? Like,
it's like a beeper.
Fucking antiquated ass.
Right?
Yeah,
it's like a beeper. And beepers are still used in some companies.
Imagine if you were like, yo, I want to get a hold of my doctor. And you called the office and like, he's not here. If you want to contact him, you could page him at this number. They say, what?
I'm sure that happens. I'm sure it does.
Fucking page him.
I'm sure
have a phone. I could just leave him a message. I could text him or something like that. It's like it's 2022. Why the fuck doesn't he have like a phone?
And he's like, because I don't want my annoying ass patients fucking calling me. He's like, that's why. You can send me a fucking page, and when I feel like it, I'll return your call.
But it's like with that page, it's like you don't even know who the fuck it is. I remember having a pager back in the day, bro.
Well, if you don't put your number there,
you just put a number. You're not gonna remember nobody's number. We've lost that ability to remember people's phone numbers because we all have like these fucking computers in our pocket.
I don't know the only phone numbers I know are the ones I already had memorized before I got a smartphone.
Exactly. My only friend that I know that remembers everybody's number, he only remembers everybody's number because he was in prison. So he always had to remember people's numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. That's fucking funny.
It's the truth, bro.
Yeah,
my only boy.
It's real as hell, though.
It was just he's just been locked up so long. This motherfucker just remembers that. He's like, you could tell him any number, he'll remember that shit.
Yeah.
Yo, we're over the hour though. You got anything you want to talk about before we fucking cut this party short?
Nah, man. I think I'm good, man. Damn, right, that flew, bro.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's joined us today in the chat. We appreciate it. If you're still here, we appreciate you. Give us a thumbs up. And if you're listening to this episode, this is weird, right? Because we're at the end. But if you ever miss an episode or you want to catch up and you don't have YouTube Red and you want to just listen to us, you can find us on Spotify. fucking Google Podcasts, everywhere you find podcasts.
Any podcast platform. Check us out.
Check us out. That's that.
That's it, yo. And yes, that's hilarious. I'm going to leave you with this. Claudio says, I remember one time I got charged to send my medical records through a fax.
What?
The office charged.
You got to use that stupid antiquated system and they charge you.
With that said, we out.
That's it. Masters of None, episode 77.